like that's one of those things where I feel like on the opposite side, like particularly with like D&D, like you try once, and then it's like, well, does everyone get to try once, or is it like just this person, or like what do we do now? My absolute favorite, my absolute favorite compromise that that follows the rules,
Yeah.
like of the actual game, is that there's one DM for a Delta Green campaign that, or his handler for a Delta Green campaign that I've been listening to, where one person tries and then he says another person can try with a -20 to their roll,
Right.
which is bad. You know,
Okay. And see,
so like
that's yeah.
you can try again, but it's going to be harder because they could, but maybe if you came at it from a different angle or a different pitch, maybe,
Yeah.
but like, you know, it's,
Well, here's here. This I
it hurt my
laughed
fucking brain.
because this was my experience. You know, I'm not. This is not my reflection on the whole game. Although, I mean, honestly, I didn't play out of the tutorial area of it. I tried to. I played it. I bought it. Backed it. We haven't pushed ourselves to get outside the tutorial. But in that, one of the things we experienced with Paracle is an app-driven game RPG. They're trying to be, GM-less because it's narrative run by the app, and so in that, whenever there's a lock to pick, you can all try, and it basically it rolls for you, roll all of you, and if any of you succeed, then it works. But then on the converse side, which does make more sense to me, is if you're trying to be stealthy, all of you roll, and if any of you fail, well, that makes more sense because
Mhm.
think about every real situation. You're sneaking and the one person kicks the tin cup. It's like, oh shoot, and now they know we're here. That makes more
Always
sense. But when it's
correct.
like you're trying to persuade somebody and all of you get to try, and if any of you succeed, it's like that kind of stuff kind of breaks it, and it also makes it micro min maxy, where it's like, dude, okay, so we only need one of our party to have this skill, and then everybody else focus into different skills. It kind of, that isn't my preferred. I like players to feel free to overlap. Their
Yeah.
characters can kind of overlap, or they can diversify. I don't care, and I love that with Allies of Majesty, since you're not worried about things as much with like party kills and all that, is that you can be overlapping characters. Like Carl likes to talk about, and I do too, the time where we had all three of our king priests, which is like a dual order mix, warrior, ministering spirit, and that's a subclass of that mix. And then we all three of us were just running together as a party, and they're all the same subclass, but we felt so different because of all the other ways you can
Mhm.
build characters out, all the other options and ways you can customize. We were very different characters, even though we're all three of the same subclass. So
Well, and like
anyway,
it's one of those things where it's like D&D doesn't have as a robust character customization when it comes to mechanics, in
yeah,
the sense to where if you're playing an, a a good comparison to be for a king priest would be, I'm playing a fighter cleric.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so you're going to play very very
or a
similar to
paladin, I
a.
guess technically. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Well, I was thinking, yeah, I guess paladins also have support, but either way, yeah. Let's just say paladin. Like, if you're playing paladin, then like you're going to play very similar to a lot of other paladins. Like
yeah, yeah,
and the thing is, like you might have like you have your different subclasses, but that's like maybe four abilities you get by the time you're level 20. Like, come on,
yeah,
you know.
exactly, exactly. I
Like,
actually, Anthony, I did it. I figured this out, just so you know. This is me. There, with the four orders, and you can be any combination. So that's 15 character types. Well, with your choice of which will be your primary and your secondary attribute, basic attributes,
mhm.
that's 450 possible character options right there. Not counting disciplines or anything else. Just from your order you choose and your primary and secondary attributes.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just one of those. Like I said, it's a way more robust system. Like
Yeah,
even
yeah,
because I was talking about this with one of my roommates today. It's like D&D has one of, in my opinion, the most lackluster armor systems in anything ever. Like it just does. Oh, I'm playing a ranger. here are my two options, or rogue, leather
Yeah. Yeah.
and studded leather.
Right. Right.
Whoop de frickin' do! I got two options, and one is meant to be better than the other. Like, come on,
Right. Right. Yeah.
like that should be something I should be able to build my character around, or have that in mind, or so on and so forth. Like, it's just no, that's just not a thing.
Yeah.
In that system. And so, like, yeah, like as you mentioned, you don't have armor that you wear in allies, but allies you can build a defensive character better than
Yes.
you can in, for instance, D&D.
Yeah.
Like, just, and the other thing is that, like, if you do build a defensive character in D&D, like, they're usually pretty boring. That's just kind of the way they are.
Yeah.
Like with the allies, you can do stuff like counters or parries
Yeah, there's active
or so on and so
defenses.
forth.
There,
Like,
there, and if you defend yourself well enough, you can hurt the enemy. Your attacker, and so
exactly.
yeah, it's viable to not just delay. The way Carl says it is, he says you're in other games when he plays defensive characters, which he likes to do, but it's not fun. Is you're just delaying the inevitable. That's what tanking
Yep.
is. You're soaking up their attacks so that the rest of your party can live long enough to do everything. And
Yep. Exactly.
in allies, he likes that you are viable as a defensive character and you're contributing more than just by tanking.
Yeah. Like a decent example, like, for instance, like Monster Hunter, like this, like the lance and shield is a viable weapon
Yeah,
because you're still doing damage
yeah,
even though your tanky is all get out. Like,
yeah.
you should be able to have that as an option. So